Welcome, everyone, to Riding with the Marks.
Woo! X-Men Dark Phoenix. Wow. What a ride. What a stroll. What a roll. Oh, man.
You know what's funny is that the movie is really, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as people are saying.
No, it's not. It is. I actually enjoyed this.
But we might have enjoyed it for different reasons.
There were some, just to start out, there were some unnecessarily funny parts that probably were not supposed to be, but, you know, our stupid humor, we found joy in it and lost it a couple times. But man, that
Shane almost died. I couldn't believe the look on his face.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fantastic.
And this is not negative, I swear. It's just there were some weird things that we laughed about with Godzilla that were supposed to be like these super serious moments.
I feel like there's a theme here. We just
going the wrong way, you dumb twat.
we tend to laugh at stuff that's not supposed to be funny, and then we don't laugh when it's supposed to be funny. There's not supposed to be humor in this. There's supposed to be some cool moments.
Like, for instance, we'll just use Titanic as a reference. When the guy falls off the boat,
reference, yeah,
hits the propeller, that's not supposed to be funny, but we laugh.
Right, but it's funny.
Something in Godzilla similarly happened, and then in this one, it's just things that happen.
more stuff where it's supposed to be this intense scene. Fortunately, as sad to say, there was no one in this theater.
Oh, god damn, was that thing empty.
I think our row was the busiest, had the most people in it. Probably had five additional people other than us, something like that. Maybe a little family or something, but other than that, there was no one in there. Yeah, and we're just losing it at the wrong moments. But there are some corny moments. There are some cliches. But for the most part, I enjoyed this movie. It's not as bad as what people are saying.
Well, yeah. Okay, so if you have like bottom of the line expectations, I mean, there is some joy to get out of this movie. There is something I'm going to say though. Positives though. Of course, Hans Zimmer's back. And
this was Hans Zimmer?
Yeah.
Fuck. No wonder. I actually did not know that. I did not know that, and it makes perfect sense because this fucking score. Yeah, actually, I knew that. Never mind. Fuck my...
You did, but you forgot.
Yes.
You didn't realize it.
No, but that was one of the things that I was noticing as this movie was going on, was I'm like, man, this score is fucking awesome. And I'm kind of glad that I forgot. Yeah, I did know that. My stupid
as soon as the beginning
30-year-old brain.
As soon as the beginning kicked up and I heard the music, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I could just tell.
He just does. I'm glad you brought that up, because the score in this, it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And yes, something that you grow to expect with Hans Zimmer, and at so many moments,
even some of the moments,
fucking epic, man. They just do a great job. I mean, visually, this movie is solid, but the score really adds to it. And I completely forgot that this was Hans Zimmer, his return to comic book movies, and fucking thank God he's back.
Oh yeah,
that was great stuff.
There's another thing I want to point out about X-Men movies in general. And something I've noticed, because they're kind of, I'm not saying the obscure comic book genre or I guess universe compared to the Marvel or the DC, mm-hmm. They've never had the scrutiny of dealing with, you know, the bullshit that critics try to fucking put out all the time, and then a bunch of people saying, well, this one did it, well, this one did it. So the fact that they just kind of go all out in the action scenes, and they fucking kill people. Yeah. There's not this like, oh, is he dead? Is he not dead? There's not this pandering to the fucking audience and stuff, playing them stupid anyway when it comes to whether or not somebody should be dead if they take a shield to the fucking head or not. And thrown by a guy full of steroids. I mean, it's just, no, they fucking kill people. Yeah. When Magneto really lets loose,
man,
yeah,
some cool shit happens.
Yeah, some shit goes down.
Yeah.
And even when Jean Grey, because obviously this is called Dark Phoenix, right? So I'm not sure how dark it was, but it's still, when she goes all out.
There's a lot of Phoenix.
Yeah. When she goes all out, the action, I think for the most part, I mean, there's not like blood everywhere. So I guess if you really need the blood splatter to go with the impact of things, maybe that could draw you out. But I just love the fact that when someone gets stabbed, they get fucking stabbed.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Anyway.
All right, we're back. Yeah, when they get stabbed, and I don't even really need the blood splatter. I just thought some of the kills were fucking awesome. So some of the shit that they did was fantastic.
And that's been with like most X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And they always look, I mean, somewhat presentable. Their action pieces, I never feel like, for the most part, they're on a green screen set.
No. There was one moment that I chuckled at, and this isn't spoilers, but it's Magneto's. He's kind of flying. He's doing his little floating thing, and I was like, wow, that doesn't look very good. But the rest of the movie, to me,
it's like when physical things are getting blown up in this movie, they're getting physically blown up. It's not CGI. I mean, if it is, it's practical mixed with CGI, and you can't really even tell the difference. So it's nice, and I've noticed that through most of the X-Men movies. Maybe Apocalypse not so much, but with most of the other X-Men movies, because this one's much more grounded and much more simpler than like Apocalypse. So you get this better look, I feel, anyway. Just when cars are blowing up, things are happening, shit goes down. So
yeah, I mean, and I think there's something with the cast in this too that just kind of helps. Matt and I were talking about this. Apocalypse isn't that great of a movie, but I enjoyed it. And as I'm watching this one, you really Fassbender, James McAvoy, the entire cast they do a fantastic job. I thought they all work together really well. So yeah, again, there's nothing that will blow you away with this movie. I actually would recommend seeing this in the theaters, just because of visually, it's a fantastic movie. The score is fucking awesome.
For the most part, there's some rubber parts. They get a little bit of rubbery look to the bodies anyway. The environment, for the most part, is good.
I don't know if that was intentional or not. Like, some of the stuff
the
that
Phoenix Force looks weird. Like, have you ever thought, like, when Suicide Squad, when she's kind of doing that, what is that, Enchantress?
This is better than an Enchantress, yeah.
I know, but it's just because when you have that mystical force around you, sometimes it can make the skin look rubbery. Sometimes, just a little bit. I'm not saying it was like overblown, but they're just like, when she's doing her makeout sessions and stuff like that.
That's what they look like.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of energy flow, and they're trying to get the hair to move up and stuff.
Right.
And it gets, it kind of looks a little awkward sometimes, but yeah, a good overall. This definitely is a slow burn movie.
Yes, yeah, it did. That was one thing as the movie was progressing. I actually, because I wasn't gonna interrupt anyone, I actually pulled my phone out to check to see how far along the movie was at a certain point, because it definitely felt like it took a while to gain some momentum, and when I pulled my phone out, we were about an hour and a half into the movie to kind of give you an idea. And
then they rush everything at the end.
yeah.
It's a slow burn rush.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. It's like what's the military slogan? Hurry up and wait, or whatever. Yeah. That's basically what this is. It's but reverse. You're gonna wait a little bit, and then boom, we're gonna hurry it up at the end. But yeah, it's again some of the stuff with this movie. I enjoyed. Again, there's some humor in it, I guess, if you share the same humor that Matt and I have.
But it's not meant to. To be honest, really, there is no jokes. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't really think there's much of any kind of jokes. Maybe in the beginning, like they're kind of fiddle fucking around, like Quicksilver kind of pops out some one-liners.
Yeah.
And stuff. But yeah, no, I don't really. It's pretty serious throughout the whole fucking movie. For the most part. Yeah. Actually,
we just laughed when we weren't supposed to. So there isn't any. Shit. Now that I think about it, there's nothing that's like dialogue driven that's supposed to make you laugh.
Yeah, it's not like calling King Ghidorah fucking gonorrhea.
Right.
There's no fucking stupid shit like that.
Right.
The script, the written, I don't know. It's very short. It's like they got it's like they wrote this thing in excerpts, like sentence, stop, and then switch, sentence, stop, and then they kind of just restart the whole shit again. It's not, doesn't flow very well. No matter what actors you have, it just doesn't flow very well. and it could be a little all over the place as well.
I know some of the actors from what I've read. One of them being Jennifer Lawrence, she's been kind of tired of these movies.
Oh, you can tell.
Yeah, and that's kind of evident, and maybe it's because we know the things that you read a little bit. So I think the delivery in the dialogue probably wasn't as sharp as it could have been, or with as much emotion behind it.
Well, it definitely felt rushed, and this thing was plagued with delays. Remember, it was delayed, and there's reshoots. And from when I remember, one of the rumored reshoots I saw. And so I'm kind of wondering if that changes the ending. Because, let's just say, from what I understand with the reshoot, that was kind of the ending. So I'm kind of wondering what the original ending was. If I'm correct. I don't know. I'm not positive. But there was a reshoot that was heavily speculated and talked about. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. So, or the big climactic
finale. Yeah.
So... That was that's interesting. So I'm wondering what the alternative ending is. The other thing, Dark Phoenix. Phoenix again. I'm not saying they waste the Phoenix necessarily in this. They kind of do, but I feel like they tried to ground this one and not make it so epic like Apocalypse. Because I think that's where they felt like they fell apart because they tried to make it so grandioso.
Yeah, but I kind of enjoyed that aspect of this.
But then you have the Phoenix, which is, they're literally saying like you're the strongest being in the world. You're fucking God.
Right. Yeah. Basically,
you're God for the most part. They're giving you all this stuff, and your biggest your biggest little fight is on the street of New York. And, it's kind of
they definitely reeled it back a little bit, but I enjoyed that aspect of it. I think it worked out well.
And the villains.
So when going back to what Matt was saying with the slow burn, that was the part with the little side villain thingy. I'm not even sure what they don't reference themselves at all, so I'm not really sure. Maybe if someone who's a little bit more well versed in X-Men will probably recognize these characters, but they were bugging me. I felt like it was an unnecessary storyline until it started picking up. Then I understood a little bit more. Okay, I see what they're trying to do, but the villains were they were a little throwaway for sure.
Extreme throwaways.
Yeah,
crunch and throwing away.
Yep, which was cool. Every superhero movie needs that kind of stuff, I guess.
So yeah, is it the great finale that people would want for the X-Men movies? Probably not.
That's I think the sad part of a lot of this movie is as you're watching it, knowing that it's essentially the last one.
End of an era.
Yeah. That, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I wanted more. There's certain things that they gave some characters a send-off, I guess. A decent send-off.
So the end of Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah. So it just makes you kind of like, I felt wanting more. I'm wanting more from this type of series, I guess, from this specific universe. So I don't know. I'm a little hesitant with still with the Disney, how all that's gonna go. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you know what? The score, some of the visuals, and I guess just to see an end of an era, I'd go see a matinee.
Yeah.
Find a good size screen, get that Dolby Digital, especially for that score. Yeah. That's what we got. We went to the Atmos one.
Yeah. Well worth it.
The score is fucking sweet. I guess you could just listen to it at home and guess what's going on. I don't know. But it's interesting. I don't know. I at this point, I don't even get critics and anymore and stuff like that.
It's not. This movie is not going to blow you away
and I really don't know if it was meant to.
No,
I think
it's enjoyable.
Sadly, even though it's an end of era, it was just another addition to the X-Men universe that they put out there, and it I don't know. Maybe at the time they weren't sure about what was going to happen, so they left the movie kind of the way it was, more simplistic-ish to the most part, instead of maybe setting up something big and grand because they knew they were going to get.
Yeah, this would kind of pretty much be it.
And so they did what they could. I don't know. First time major blockbuster director was Simon Kinberg. I mean, he wrote it and directed it, and I think he's only done like one or maybe two small movies. And he takes this on. It's nothing special with the camera work. There's nothing like that. There's no real flavor to it for the most part.
There's a couple There's a couple moments where I could appreciate what they were trying to do with the camera work, some of the panning, how the action shots were. There's not his own flavor of how a movie is going to be shot the entire time. There were moments where I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Again, it had a lot to do with panning or just kind of swooping in and things like that, which I could appreciate. I could see what they were trying to do with it, something a little bit different, but it's not going to be, again, something that will blow you away where it was like, wow, that was way different or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing revolutionary, nothing going to change the genre.
Yeah,
just another movie in the comic book world.
Yep.
So,
enjoyable.
So, in case I don't see you,
good afternoon, good evening, and apparently good afternoon.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. All these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.
Yo!